Guys, and welcome to this video, which is going to be an all-out EPZ comparison. EPZ has been one of the brands that this year has surprised me the most. I had already tried an EPZ IM in the past, namely the Q1, which was a single DD over here, sporting a 13mm titanium covered dynamic driver. It was okay, it was good. It wasn't, it had a nice warm tonality, nice bass, not very detailed up top, but that as well was the whole idea behind its tuning, to be warm and not aggressive in the upper mids and highs. And basically then I left it. I never really paid too much attention. Then earlier this year I decided to give them a go again and started looking which IM I was going to get. And around the time of the Jazeera 41T, the Full Performer 5, when all those OnePlus 4s were being all the rage in the earlier part of this year, I decided to get the K5, which is their OnePlus 4 IM. Stabilized wood faceplate, OnePlus 4, 8mm LCP driver, 4 BAs, 29689 and 31736 if I'm not mistaken, two pairs of each, a pair of each, sorry. And nice. It was nice at $115, $120 more or less. It was a nice sounding IM. Okay, it wasn't going to be the best of the OnePlus 4s, but at that price range, or at that value at least, it was probably the most competent one in that period. I mean, this is way before the EM6L came out, so it was the cheapest, probably most well-tuned IM back then. Then I subsequently looked into their all BA sets. I first bought the 620, which is a 6 BA set, around $230. Dual 22 955s for the bass, at 29689, two 29689s for the mids, and 31736 for the tweeters. I complemented that with the 5 BA set, which is the 520. Basically, it just cuts off one 22 955, but the rest is very much the same. Then I bought the top of the line, the 530. An absolute beast. Sonian BAs on the bass and on the tweeters, tremendous on the bass and on the mid. Sorry, tremendous IM. Really good IM. Very much capable of trading blows with the likes of Software's RSV and things of that sort. SA6 from Duno. That level of performance. And then subsequently they also came out with what they call a gaming IM, which was the G10. And then in the second part of the year, they released the Q5, which was a single DD, which raised a little bit of controversy because its shell was designed like the shells from the Meze Advan, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, it's a brand that has surprised me every single time in every single one of its IMs. There is no real flaw that I can point, because the reality is they actually do meet the criteria in terms of what the IM should be sounding like, or what the design premise was. So they've done that. They don't take an IM saying that it's going to be detailed and have decent treble or decent mids, and then you listen to it and there's nothing of that there. No, every single IM, their philosophy or their objective in terms of what the sound must be has been met. So full marks there. Their build quality as well across the whole range is, in my opinion, flawless. Be it the resin shells on the OBA sets, or even on the OnePlus 4, or then the shell on this copycat shell, let's call it that way, of the Q5. Every single shell is always done to a very high standard. Even the shell of the G10, which is a more plastic kind of plastic. But it does look 3D printed, I will say, but it does have a more plasticky feel to it. Even this shell is amazing. You can also see that across the board there's a special attention paid to making sure that the IMs have always got good ergonomics, so they fit nicely. So there's no strangeness in terms of fit. They all fit very nicely. They all are relatively small. I mean, the K5, sorry, for a OnePlus 4, this is a tiny IM. This is a really small IM, and you can see all the ducts inside and how everything has been very carefully designed. So they pay attention. They know what they're doing. Let's put it this way. EPZ knows what they're doing. They're not designing IMs by just by chance. They know how to design IMs, and they know how to tune them, because, as I said earlier, all of them do sound amazing, and two of them, particularly the 520 and the 530, have actually even gotten awards. Let's then go through the range here, and kind of give you a little breakdown. I'll start here with the cheapest, which is the and also by default the oldest IEM, oh my god, just had a blank now. The Q1, single DD, as I mentioned, 13mm driver, great bass, great bass. It's a nice warm signature. It's not going to be an IM for those that like loads of detailed retrieval and all the twinklies and sparklies, but you know what, it does its job. It sounds good, it's non-fatiguing. You can listen to this IM for hours, and it's nice. It's just one of those nice, let's call them comfort food kind of IEMs. It's not going to bore you. It's not going to fatigue you. It's just for you to put them on and go take a walk and something, and not worry about having an IEM they're shouting or you having to adjust the volume all the time. No, it's that kind of IEM. Okay, this is priced at around $30. The G10, their gaming or supposedly gaming focused IEM, Harman tune, and there's really nothing I can say against it. It's a very nicely Harman tuned IEM. Great bass, very nice mids, vocals, males and females are perfect, instruments perfect as well. There's no exaggeration, no color, nothing. They just come across beautiful. Timbre and tonality amazing. Detailed retrieval. If anything, it's just the energy past 10K, which is a little bit subdued, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's just doesn't have as much twinklies and sparklies as, for example, the Q5, which is got basically the same signature. I mean, when I show you the signatures in a second, you'll see what I'm saying. They basically have the same type of Harman tune. The difference is that this uses an LCP driver, this uses a CNT driver, and with that difference, yes, the tonality, what comes across in terms of details and so on and so forth, will be different. But both of them, be it this or be it the Q5, are tremendous IEMs. I mean, the Q5, I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but the Q5, is an IEM that was made with the intention of trading blows with the Syngot EA500, which is probably one of the best IEMs under $100. And the reality is, it holds its own, and there are occasions where it actually is capable of being on par and even better than the EA500. The fact that it's got a tune which has more bass, straight away does help it out. Although in my particular case, I never thought that the EA500 was lacking in bass. But I think just by saying that it can hold its ground with the EA500 is a testament to seeing how good this IEM is. It's got this beautiful shell, which seems to be like some sort of a 3D printed affair as well. They've got it in black, which was the initial color, and then I've launched it in white. The white, I think, is absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful IEM. It's got a very ceramic feel to the finish. So the Q5 is a fantastic IEM. $50. I mean, they are, like I said, at that price. There is. I'm not going to say it's the best, because there are a few very good IEMs priced at that value, but it's probably one of the best ones. Probably one of the better ones. Although, like I said, the difference between something like this and the EW200, for example, is not a huge difference. Or the Tin Hi-Fi, the T2 DLC, it's not a huge difference, because we are talking about the best propositions in that segment. But this one is definitely one of the better ones, without a question. The K1, a 1+1 9.2mm driver. It's got more of an old school type of tuning, more of a mid-bass emphasis, but it sounds decent. I mean, you can notice the BA timbre. It's noticeable. You can distinguish between the separation of the drivers. It's probably, out of all of them, actually, the one that is, I'm not going to say the worst sounding, but the one that has the more just run-of-the-mill tuning, let's put it that way. Even this one, with all its warmness and, let's say, exemption from a lot of detail and everything, has a certain magic about it, which is appealing. It's not the first time that you maybe pick up on it, but you listen to it a few times and you start saying, oh, I actually enjoy this. I actually really like this. Okay. K5 1+4, again, at the time when I reviewed it, which was earlier this year, around March if I'm not mistaken, it was the cheapest, and it is still one of the cheapest 1+4 hybrids, and it's a well-tuned hybrid. If there's any defect that I have to maybe point out, is that the area there of the 4.5 to 6.5K area is a little bit more energetic than its surrounding frequencies. So maybe for some of us which are a little bit sensitive in that particular area there of the upper mids and early treble, you will maybe suffer, slightly. You might think it's a little bit aggressive, but honestly, nothing that, again, a careful tip selection won't help, or you choosing a nicer, warmer source won't help. Otherwise, taking that aside, fantastic IM. There's nothing that kind of stands out in terms of an emphasis on one particular area or focus. No, it's got a very coherent type of sound, very nice bass, nice mids. It's just that little extra energy there that for me it didn't bug me, but for some it could be an issue. All right. And that basically covers here the dynamics or hybrids that they have. They then have 3 all-BA sets. Unquestionably, the best one is the 530. This is an absolute beast of an IM. It's an all stabilized wood shell. I mean, honestly, looking at it on video or pictures does not make justice to it, because you truly have to see it to appreciate how beautiful this IM is. It is truly a very beautiful IM. The implementation of the BA here is fantastic. It's got that right weight. It's got the right the presence, everything. It's got the BA characteristics of bass being quick, but it's got a very much a DD-like presentation as well. Okay, fair enough, this is not going to rumble your ears or anything, but it's got a bass which very much surprises you. And when I said earlier that it can trade blows with an RSV, yes, it can trade blows with an RSV. If I have to be even totally honest, I would probably prefer this over an RSV, because the RSV, however amazing it is, and it is a fantastic IM, I'm not detracting anything away from it, the RSV can sometimes just sound a little bit boring, and technically it's not its strong point, especially when you consider it's a $700 IM. This for $450 give or take, and sometimes you can even get a little bit cheaper. Technically, it blows the RSV out of the water completely. Bass, it's got the same bass, if not even better in terms of quality, with way more quantity, okay? And then mids, which is the RSV's forte, this keeps up with it easily. It's got a little bit more treble up top, which maybe some might consider as being excessive and might not keep the balance of things. But you know what? I think it's honestly, I really think that this is one of the best all BA sets out there, and very much an underdog. It hasn't been given its deserved attention. It's an IM that very much can keep up with the likes of a Duno SA6, with the likes of, like I said, the RSV, can keep up with even with something like the Auru Audio Neon Pro. It is capable of trading blows and actually sounding more musical, because that's the thing that I think surprised me the most about the 530 is how musical this IM is. Although it's an all BA set, it is very musical, and it's all down to how well that bass has been implemented and how it matches the mids and the highs. Okay, so that's the 530, and then we have the 520 and the 620, which are again all BA sets, a 5 BA and a 6 BA. The only difference here is one extra bass BA on the 620. And I have to say that initially I kind of pended towards more the 520. I don't know why. I guess it just sounded nicer to me. And the reason why one of the reasons why that happened was when I tried the 620, I struggled a little bit with the tips, and I wasn't finding the proper tip that was, giving me what I was looking for, and I ended up actually using tips for the etymotics, which were the tips that were being able to control the upper mids and the treble the best. And then that somehow made the bass sound thin and not like you had actually dual woofers. So that's why the 520 appealed more to me. Why? Because I tried it with the etymotics, following the kind of same idea that maybe that would be a necessity, and I didn't like the etymotics on here. So I tried these green tips, which are the tips which you can get from Panon, and AudioSense also has the same tips. And fantastic. The green tips on here just sounded absolutely fantastic. By my own personal fault, I never tried these tips on the 620. I never gave it, the chance. And now when I was getting this review ready, I said to myself, let me try the 620 with those tips and see how it sounded. And the reason was basically, I had tried a whole bunch of tips there. I tried the Etymotic and it worked. I got the 520. Tried a whole bunch of tips, tried the Etymotic, it didn't work here. So, I said, okay, I'm not even gonna bother with trying any other thing. Let me just see if this last tip here will try. And this worked fine. And I didn't give it the chance on there. Stupid me. That's it. Gave it a try. Fantastic. Fantastic. Amazing. Either the 620 or the 520 with these green stem tips that you can get from Panon or from AudioSense, it is the best match for me, in my opinion. There is still an audible difference between the two, especially in the way that the mids, upper mids and treble are executed. But amazing. The bass is flawless. Probably at this price, this is $200 and this is $230. Forget now the 530. But at this $200 price bracket or price point, these are probably two of the best IEMs out there. And I'm saying this knowing beforehand that we have the likes of SR4, sorry, from SoundRhyme, which I will be reviewing briefly. We have the new High Senior as well, the T4, amazing IEM. We have the likes of the Bravery. So there are a number of very competent 4BA and 5BA IEMs out there, and these just, this one always, I had that impression of it. I always thought that for the $200 that it cost, it was amazing. But now, I can confidently say that the 620 joins it. Are they as versatile, for example, as some of these hybrids? Yeah, no, they're not as versatile. They are IEMs. These two IEMs will definitely be more focused towards those of you that like more vocals, that like the more acoustic kind of stuff, that like more, let's say, less energetically or less overly energetic songs in the bass departments. I'm not saying with that this won't, for example, be able to play some EDM. It plays, either one of them plays EDM very well. But while, for example, I take an EDM song, let's say Riviera for the sake of argument, and I put it here, and I put it on the 530, and the 530 has the necessary weight in the bass to give that song its emphasis, on these two, it sounds quick. The bass has got enough authority, but it just sounds thin, which when you take into consideration, okay, one BA for the bass, one BA for the bass, okay, I can accept that, but that's got two BAs for the bass, and the two BAs here for the bass cannot match a single BA there. That means that the tuning was done on purpose to be a more quick sounding bass, a bass that has detail, speed, texture, and not so much a BA focused on going low, let's put it that way. But ultimately the reality is this: these are two very, very well done all BA sets that you just need to pay attention with regards to the tips that you choose. That's basically it. I understand, it is my understanding that, for example, the 520 has got a very big cult following in Japan. Now that I've like I said, tried it out and tried the proper tips and see what it's all about, I can understand why. Like I said, this one is a custom one that I have. Okay, there is also, I believe, let me see, it's not this one. Was it this one? No, this one. Yeah, this one is the stock 520. It's basically the same thing. It's just got the single color shell, and this is the cable that it brings, but it's exactly the same thing. I bought this one actually first, and then I wanted a custom one, a red and blue, and I got that one. Crazy me, you know me, I've got this problem. So there you go, guys. There's really no IEM on the whole of the EPZ range that you can say is bad. The one that's perhaps the least exciting, like I said, is the K1. The standouts, the if I have to give 3 standouts, okay, fine. I'm gonna say the 530, so I'm gonna exclude the 530 because of the price. So if I have to give 3 standouts in the more affordable ones, I think that you'll also be guessing which are the 3 standouts that I'm going to be saying. G10, Q5, 620. These are my three standouts. Well, 620 or 520 really doesn't really matter. These are the three standout IEMs. And then in a second place, let's put it that way, we have the K5, the Q1, and then third place we have the K5, and then we have the K1 in third place. The EPZ 530 is just on another class altogether. I mean, honestly, it is a very good IEM. End of story. It's as simple as I can put it. Anyway, guys, that's my take here, my overview of the EPZ range. I'll just show you the graphs for the sake of just showing you quickly the graphs, how they all are, and we'll wrap it up. Okay, you take care now. Hi guys, and welcome now to the graph section for this EPZ mega comparison. Okay, let's start off here with the graph of the Q1. As you can see, and as I mentioned, you know, it's a warm sounding IEM, upper mids and treble, well, especially the treble, very relaxed, very chilled out, so no sibilance, no aggressiveness. It's a very relaxed, very easygoing sound. Nice bass, very well executed, no bleed, no bloat. It's a look. The graph is exactly what you hear. It's not a detail monster, but it's also got this lushness, this seductiveness to it, which is very appealing. The next one I'm going to be putting up, comparing to it, is the G10, which is their gaming IEM, and yes, this has already got more of a Harman curve, as you can see. The bass is basically very similar to the bass of the Q1, just more of it in terms of more quality, honestly, although it's not a big difference. But then it's in the upper mids and treble that you see a huge difference. I mean, really well executed. The balance struck between the extremes of the frequencies is amazing. No bleed. I mean, mids, upper, in terms of vocals, are amazing. Instruments, perfect. Timbre and tonality, I mean, spot on. And then finally here, the Q5, which I'm just going to remove one of them. As you can see, the Q5 graphs almost identical to the G10, just the different driver technology, what or diaphragm rather, not technology, the different driver diaphragm gives us a sound which, especially in the upper mids and treble, is just a little bit more cleaner and also has more extension past 10K. Both of these IEMs, to be honest, will do very well with gaming, although when EPZ mentions that the G10 is focused for gaming, I think it's an understatement of its capabilities. It's an IEM that has way more capabilities than just being a gaming IEM. Way more. As for the Q5, I mean, it's a beast of an IEM. There's really nothing more that I can say. It's an absolute beast of an IEM, perfectly executed bass. It's honestly, it's faultless. It is, in my opinion, faultless and one of the best $50 IEMs. Okay, so that's the single DD range. The hybrids, we have got two, like I mentioned. We've got the K1, we just got this more kind of old school type of tuning, mid bass focus with these peaks here at 5, and this basically, you notice all of this energy here of the BA, you notice it, and you could say that this is the least it's the more lackluster tuned IM of the whole range. But you know what, even with it not being perfect, it's also not bad. So it's just, it is an IM that's there. I'm sure they will be coming out with a 1+1 or 1+2 soon that will be way better. And this is the 1+4, where what I mentioned about I've been, if you haven't been paying attention, I've actually been normalizing everything at 500 Hz. It's not in the bass, that's the biggest difference. The biggest difference, or the issue of the K5, is this energy here that it has at 4, 5, 6. That for me, that didn't bug me, but it can for some people be a problem. It's just a little bit strong as compared to the bass. So if you see here's your bass, okay, and that's your upper mids and treble there. So it's a very much a you could say a vocal focused IM, although personally I don't perceive it that way. All right, that's the hybrids done, and now then we have the three all BA sets. We start off with the 520. Okay, relatively flat response. You don't really notice this dip as much as you would think, and you also do not notice this peaks as much as you would think. The sound that you get is kind of a very flat sound. The bass is very well executed. and it's been purposely, I guess, in my opinion, done to be more quick, nimble, fast, good impact, good detail, good texture than necessarily a bass monster. Because I mean, we've seen applications of 22955 in some of KZ's offerings. AS16 Pro, for example, comes to mind, and it can rumble, it can go down. So it's just the way that they've tuned it. This is the 620 compared to it. So bass is basically the same thing, although you got two woofers. You don't really get much more energy. You just get the feeling that the bass on the 620 is just more effortless. That's all. What you do find is that this area here of the transition from mids to upper mids seems to be just a little bit extra more detailed, because of the way that it's been done. Okay, slightly more forward, and just a little bit more detailed. I can't really explain. It's just got a little bit more on certain female vocals. You notice it, and in terms of the BA timbre on either case, you really only notice that BA timbre more up here. The rest of the spectrum, you do not notice that BA timbre. I'll be honest. At least I didn't perceive it that way. And then finally, the best one, let's put it that way, the 530. I mean, for me, this is a perfect graph. It's really nice. The bass, very much like on planars, this doesn't bloat as what you would think. It's not bleeding into the mids, or whatever minor bleed that does exist is so minimal and so and actually welcomes and gives it a sense of DD sensation to the music. It's very musical, this IM, very musical. And then the way that the mids is done, the peen again, and I would basically plateaus across this whole part of the mids and upper mids and treble, and just a peak there, couple of red, and loads of extension passed in. Okay. Some people complained about this extension. You notice in the BA timbre and so on. Personally, no, I didn't notice it. I just think it's an absolute beast of an IM. Just for the sake of comparison, I'm just going to put up the RSV here so that you guys can see. Soft ears RSV. Here we go. Soft ears RSV. There we go. Let me just now normalize it, and I'm going to normalize it at 500 hertz. And there we go. And this is very much what you hear, which is, you notice that the EPZ has got a lot more mid bass. That's very noticeable. In terms of the lower sub bass, up to about, I would say about 100 hertz, they come across as in the same quality, just more quantity on the EPZ. And in the mids are very comparable, very, very comparable. The mids is not where you really see the difference of the two. The difference then also arises again is in the amount of extension you have up top, and that is what actually basically contributes to the fact that the EPZ is way more technically capable. Okay, and that's it, guys. I mean, I can't really say much more. I mean, keep an eye out now during the 11/11 sales, I guess. See what there will be putting on sale, what you can pick up. Like I mentioned, the IEMs here that I think are deserving of being picked up, definitely the 530, of course, if you can go that far. In terms of the other BA sets, you can't really go wrong with you can't really go wrong with either one of the cheaper models, be it the 520 or the 620. You can't really go wrong. Although maybe I guess I would take the 620. I'll probably pick this one here. And this is as flat as can be, let's put it that way, really. And then in terms of the single DDs, definitely the Q5 is I think a must-have IEM. If you haven't picked up a Harman tuned IEM around $50 and you want something that is really well tuned, this is a must-have. Either this or then, of course, the G10, but I mean, I guess the Q5 has got enough to justify that extra $10 that you pay, and you can still use it for gaming for sure, definitely. As for the K5, I would say okay, it's fine, but there are better options out there. I'm not gonna lie to you and say no. There are better options out there, and I would also say wait a while. I think there will be a better model coming out soon that will be able to be more competitive and again rekindle a bit of that glory that they had there for a little while. All right. Anyway, guys, as always, like and subscribe. Any questions, please feel free to ask me, and I'll do my best to answer as quickly as possible. You take care now. Bye bye.